My name is Michael T. Hankins, Sr., originally from Tacoma, Washington, right here, the Hilltop area of Tacoma. My family was born and raised right here. We're in the back of the People Center right now, where my mural's on the wall. My grandfather mural's on the wall, my mom's father, and man, just doing this thing, representing the culture of the city of Tacoma and the MOCA program. At one point in time, there was over 25 black businesses right here. The ice cream place, 31 Flavors, there was a black-owned place called 24 Flavors right on the hill. Cemeteries Barbershop, the original barbershop, Woods Barbershop. A lot of people figured about on 15th, there used to be a gas station called Walker's Gas Station. It was black owned. And then my father, rest his soul, Harold Hankins, worked in the house I live in right now. There was a black contractor who used to live right across the street. His name was Mr. Tisdale. And so my dad worked for Tisdale. There's a lot of history in the Hilltop that people don't even know about, they don't talk about, but there's a lot of history. I gotta give all this credit to my great uncle, who is now deceased, the Honorable Fletcher Jenkins Sr., who was the president of the Hilltop Steering Committee at one time. My mother, Virginia Hankins, who was also a Hilliard. They helped have this mural built, and some of the artists like Tiffany Hammond and Chris Jordan, amongst others. Man, my credit goes out to them. Working with the village, that's the only way I know. You know, working with the youth, working with the people, working with the community, that's where it's at. MOCA stands for Motivating Our Children to Honor Academics. Purpose of MOCA is to work with black students in our community and take them out of the hood and show them something different. So students have been to Prairie View, Texas Southern, Tuskegee, Langston University, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Atlanta. So MOCA's about, we've been across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Montgomery, Alabama, to Deshaunte Johnson's house, who was my cousin. So we took students to a barbecue at his house. They've been to Martin Luther King's gravesite, where him and Coretta Scott King are buried at, down Auburn Avenue. MOCA's done a lot. I've taken over 100 kids from Portland, Seattle, Tacoma, California to on HBCU tours, and out of those kids, I put 22 of those kids in college, and out of those 22, 20 of them graduated with their degrees, including my son, Mike Jr.
Let's start with the beginning. Lincoln High School, class of 2013. Went on to Washington State University, class of 2017. Did master's at Texas Southern University, class 2018. And there's a PhD underway. That is we'll get to TBD. We'll worry about that later. I did get to cross Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, spring 2018 in Oklahoma City. Probably one of the best decisions I made outside of everything else that's kind of going on. And so just really, excited to be here. When we were in your apartment, when they did the acceptance to Langston, Kyle was there, Jamari, Tamar, everybody was there. Mind you, none of us have been to, I don't know if you have, none of us have been to Langston at that point. So we really just trusted Mike enough to be like, and this white boy who no one knew at the same time, we just trusted his judgment. Was like, hey, this is an HBCU. They giving us money to get you there. Like, you're not gonna have to pay as much. You're gonna have to go to Oklahoma. We're like, none of us have been to Oklahoma, heard of Langston or anything like that. And I didn't go to Langston. And that was more of a pride for myself, because I have a twin sister. So me and her, she got accepted and somehow got all the scholarships and I got nothing. And I was like, oh, I felt offended. So then I was also like, well, this is an opportunity for us to split up. We've never split up. We've been to the same school our entire lives, which that's another story. But this is our first time ever splitting up. She went to Langston and I went to Wazoo, but I was still working with Mike. I was still coming to late night, coming back and doing whatever he did, shoe drives, anything that he had going on. I always stayed tapped in and locked in with that. And so it's just funny how it's literally MOCA every step of the way, let alone Mike every step of the way. Like I'm pretty sure the job I hold now, he did my reference for him.
Graduated from Langston University. a proud native of Tacoma, Washington, born and raised, and a student, an advocate, and an ambassador for MOCA, which stands for Motivating Our Children to Honor Academics. I majored in business management and financial planning. At HBCU, I actually didn't apply to any schools in Washington State outside of a community college, which I knew I can go there, get my AA, and then use that to transfer to another school. So there wasn't one school that I really wanted to go to in Washington State. I just go take the community service or community college route, but was blessed with the opportunity to meet Kyle Gregory and Dr. Raphael Moffitt, and that changed my life. I knew I wanted to go to a HBCU ever since I lived and got to spend a lot of time out in the South. I remember going to Alabama State while in middle school and high school, and just seeing the culture, even being in Atlanta, and just in that area, just the downtown area, and just seeing Black people thriving and it not resulting from sports or music. I believe I seen one of my first Black people in the Maybach downtown Atlanta, and from that point on, I was always an entrepreneur, but I knew that that was going to be how I, made my impact and give back to the community.
Once again, I say to be able to take these kids off of a corner or out of these streets, and when I went to my son's college graduation, to see all those beautiful Black kids walk across the stage and receive their degrees, to me, that means a lot to me. So, if they're going to school to get a degree, joining the military, or going to finishing high school, anything positive, I would love to see it. If it's negative, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want to see it. I've been to enough funerals. I've heard enough about people getting shot, getting killed, all that stuff. That's not where it's at. I want to see you do something positive, so to prolong that legacy.
I saw this program as being so wonderful in just repetition, the positive. And if you have some experiences that aren't positive, what solutions can you have to make it positive, to turn it around for you? And that to me is so important, that young people, they're going to experience those negative aspects in life because that's all part of life. But what can you do that will bring a positive and turn that around so you can move forward rather than tracking back? Currently today, you hear that college is not the necessarily have the influence that it used to have. In other words, there are other types of experiences. And I would say for our children, that college, post-secondary experience is still very important. And I'm thinking in terms of college, because it's a set program. And it's still, in my opinion, but that's my opinion, it still carries weight. There are other experiences that young people can have in terms of what is after high school experiences. And there are many experiences out there that are very, very important and they have influence. But I still see the college education as being important.
So it's a matter of just exposing them to different things, even if it is a pair of shoes. That pair of shoes can turn into a laptop, which can turn into a flight, which can turn into a university, which can turn into a new job, a new career, all those types of things. So like exposing them very early on is really important, because now it's like a rubber band. Once you start stretching it, you can't go back to your original size. You got to keep stretching, and then you break, and then you can get a bigger rubber band. So
once I graduated, I was able to connect with small businesses, connect with restaurants, connect with schools. I've had the privilege to work with kids now for 6+ years, and just being able to intertwine all of my experiences and my resources to give to them, to show them that they too have the space and opportunity to do what I'm doing, do it better, and to give back to their community, and it be fun. It not feeling like a job, or just knowing that our work is not in vain.
Knowing Michael's experiences and background, I have admired him in his persistence. He's aware of the system, the educational system, and other systems out there that work individually and collectively to impede progress. But he has gone beyond that, and he has stayed positive himself and helpful in motivating, keep on, trekking on, one step in front of the other, not letting past experiences or what might be negative ones impact. And I would say for 10 plus years, he has been persistent. And that persistence I have admired, not only individually that he has, but what he's had with his family.
My goal is to see more of our children leave off these corners and graduate with their college degree and go pursue something in life. Like, we have some people here in the community that don't even work with our kids, and they should. And we're talking about black people that are in positions, engineers, doctors, all that. And to me, that's frustrating, but it's reality, you know what I mean?